So obviously, a couple days ago, there was the Georgia Senate elections in which Perdue lost to Ossoff and Loeffler lost to Warnock. So that brings it to a 50-50 in the Senate. And so people are really excited because you effectively have a majority in the Senate if you're 50-50 with the president of your party, right? So Joe Biden is of the Democratic Party. Kamala Harris is his vice president. Kamala Harris is technically the president of the Senate, and she gets to come in to break all ties, right? If it's a 50-50 vote, who comes in to break it? It's the vice president. So really, you're 51-50, essentially. You have a majority. But the issue is there's a couple of stragglers in the Democratic Party who are kind of dinos, right? Democrat in name only. They're not really Democrats. Joe Manchin is the name that strikes out at you, but there's more, like Kirsten Sinema. She's a carbon copy of Joe Manchin. That's actually her hero. So there are a couple of these people. So even though there's like this kind of illusion or mirage that there is this majority in the Senate, like, yeah, at least McConnell's not leading anymore, but you're going to have to figure out how to push Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin in the direction of some of these progressive issues. And that's going to be a real challenge. It's going to be a real challenge, especially because Joe Biden ain't that progressive, right? So he might kind of fake a fight or not even have a fight at all whatsoever, right? And so Joe Manchin is saying absolutely not to a round of $2,000 checks. So remember, the $2,000 stimulus checks is what the Democrats ran on for this Georgia Senate race. And it ended up being a big part in the reason why they won both of the seats, right? It's a Senator Joe Manchin on Friday voiced firm opposition to providing $2,000 stimulus checks, putting the moderate lawmaker at odds with President-elect Joe Biden, congressional Democrats, and even some Republicans. Absolutely not. No, Manchin told Washington Post in an interview published Friday. Getting people vaccinated, that's job number one. How is the money that we invest now going to help us best to get jobs back and get people employed? And I can't tell you that sending another check out is going to do that to a person that's already got a check. He said, Manchin in a tweet later said if a new round of checks go out, they should be targeted to ensure they go to those in need. So this was like, I guess he got a lot of shit for it. And so in an attempt to kind of backpedal himself, he sent out a tweet saying if the next round of stimulus checks goes out, they should be targeted to those who need it. So it's him like trying to backpedal after all the backlash he got. Remember that politicians are most worried about whether or not they're going to get voted back in. And that's why there's definitely going to be some Republicans who support this. There's going to be at least a couple in the Senate for sure, especially after they just saw the spanking that they got in the Georgia races. You think that they're going to be down to vote no? No way. But the idea that, getting people vaccinated, that's job number one. That's often a Republican talking point or a corporate Democrat talking about, oh, we have to do this first. We magically can't do two things. We can't send out a check and focus on vaccination. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do both at the same time? It's an incredibly stupid point. It's just an excuse that he's trying to make to obviously do the bidding of his corporate donors, very obviously. But how is sending people a check who got a check? When was it that people even last time got a check? Wasn't that like 6 or 9 months ago? Some ridiculous amount of time ago? It was a long, long time ago since the last check went out, dude. So I have no clue what he's talking about. And that check was like, what, $1,200? How far is that going to take you, dude? Like, what? It's been months since the last stimulus check went out. So why would that not help people afford groceries or medical bills or basic necessities? And, yeah, it would help. Obviously, what you guys know is when you give people money, your average citizen money, they're much more likely to go out and spend that money than a rich person is or somebody who's very wealthy. And yeah, that does spark businesses. You know what I mean? That's what keeps it going. Our economy is very consumer based, and that's why you're seeing so much shit go to the ground, is because people realize a lot of these businesses are running check to check, and if there's not a ton of consumer spending, the businesses don't really last, which is honestly bad. I think it shows that it's very unsustainable. But this is a very, very consumer-based spending economy. And so if you're trying to get people's jobs back, stores and businesses have to have their goods purchased, right? And what better way to have their goods purchased than having a stimulus check to actually buy shit, right? Business can't employ anybody if they're not having anyone buy any of their goods. So it's a load of crap, a load of bullshit. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes because remember, largely where Barack Obama failed when he was president was to really not only to pressure Republicans, but even like Joe Lieberman, a Democrat, to be able to pressure those people to vote how he wanted them to vote. Is Joe Biden going to be able to pressure them? Does Joe Biden even support anything really progressive? It also notes that it says that they need 60 to get to break filibuster. To get cloture, you need 60 votes just to get out of debate, unless they use the budgetary rules. You guys know. You guys know about the little budgetary, mechanism that they can use reconciliation just to use 50 votes. But honestly, I think that I don't know. See, the thing is, I don't know how many Republicans would vote in favor of, ending debate and getting cloture and going into an actual vote on the real thing, right? I wonder how many Republicans would vote in favor of ending a debate just to hold a vote on the thing. I don't really know. But I really find it hard to believe that there's not even like 2 or 3 senators who are Republicans who would be in favor of the $2,000 checks, because I think that they, once they see the public pressure, man, it's really tough for them to hold. And once they saw the whole Georgia thing, I think they're pretty scared. But this is going to be the first test for Joe Biden as president, what is he going to do? Joe Biden really hasn't done anything this entire time. He's not even really a vocal leader, or a focal leader, I guess, focal or vocal. He's not on the front lines. This is going to be his first test. 2K checks is what was promised to Americans. That's what the Democrats ran on in the Georgia Senate races. It was incredibly successful. That's what happens when you run on an issue instead of an anti-issue, right? So, it's going to be interesting to see, but this is going to be a roadblock to anything progressive. Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema. It's going to make it very, very difficult. And despite this, being an issue that really should be bipartisan, I'm not sure how this is going to play out, man. A lot of people are going to look at Democrats as scammers if they don't get this through, because they would be looked at as liars, essentially.